stomp on it, spit on it. Let me tell you something as a true patriot. You're not making a statement. You're just exposing yourself. That flag you're trying to destroy, it's blood, sweat, and sacrifice of millions of Americans who fought and died for you to have the freedom to act like fools out in the street. You think you're bold for lighting it on fire? Try standing in front of a Marine who lost his brothers out in combat and tell him that flag means nothing. Try telling the families who buried their loved ones with that flag on the casket that you have the right to spit on it. You don't even know what you're disrespecting. You have every right to protest in America. That's freedom that these men and women fought to protect. But when you cross the line and attack the very symbol that protects that freedom, you're not a protester. You're a disgrace. You're not changing the country for the better. You're reminding every real American exactly what we stand for and who we're up against. That flag will still be flying long after your tantrums are over. You can burn it, but you'll never burn out what it really represents. Honor, sacrifice, unity, and real courage. So here's my message to every patriot watching. Stand up and speak out. Let them know that this flag means more to us than their hate ever could.
Well, today is Thursday the 12th. The reason the video wasn't posted yesterday is because I was very busy. I was out here burning off all the grass, weeds from the garden. Turned out really well. I did have some boxes that did catch a little too close to the heat, I guess. I used a torch. I'll show you here in a minute what I used. But it did pretty darn good. I think it's going to be a lot better than weed eating. It does use a lot of propane because, like I said, it took pretty much half of a day to do this. As you can see, some of the boxes there did get a little torched. Yeah. Turned out pretty darn good, if I say so myself. I'm really proud of it. I'm trying to think what else that I did do yesterday. I did a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, I know what it was. These pallets over here, you see, they were laying down here. They will eventually be put up here. I just haven't had get these right here. I use anything that I can find that I can use the bucket of the tractor to push down on. As you can see, some of these are not the best. They got bent a little bit, but I put up all these right here. So I put up 4 of these yesterday. I still got to get the other ones put up, and then it'll be totally fenced in. But I think it turns out really good. I think it's going to be really nice once it's all done. Now, the long-term plan is to paint the pallets. That way they last a little longer. I could use the torch. I've seen in other videos where people use the torch to char the pallets. That helps preserve them. I did do that down here on the bottom of this one over here. This over here was all nothing but straw, and it caught on, and then of course I got a little close there with the torch, but that's okay. Like I said, charring actually preserves the wood, so I mean, it's not like a bad thing. But I think, like I said, it turned out pretty darn good, if I say so myself. So I'm going to mark on the calendar yesterday's date when I did this and see how long it lasts before more weeds pop up. But I'll show you the torch. I also straightened up the gazebo yesterday. Got things organized up there. It was getting... Carmen goes up there and plays and gets everything out and leaves everything hanging and gets things messed up. God bless her soul. Yesterday, all day, it was a hot day yesterday. And on top of that, you're using probably, I think it's 475 degrees is what temperature it was. Torching. And yesterday's humidity was like 75%, and it was 89 degrees. Yeah, nice and warm out here yesterday. Today I'm going to be mowing. This part here, as you can see, I stopped right here. It's about as far as the tractor can go. So I have to weed whack all this. Plus I got to get all along the garlic bed here. So I got to do that today. After I get done mowing, I'll be weed trimming. I wanted to do it yesterday, but just didn't get around to it. Like I said, that torching took a long time. I'll show you the device I use. There's old Milo. He just had his breakfast. All the animals have been fed, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll go in here and I'll show you the torch that I use. This thing is awesome. Let's see here. That's the name of this. I got it off of Amazon. You got your dial up there. You can how much propane you want to put on. There's your trigger. There's your ignition. Like I said, it works wonderful. I had to order a new hose yesterday, or last night I ordered a new hose. Because this part here gets very hot, and accidentally I set it down on the ground, and I thought I didn't think I set it on the hose, and when I came back, yeah, I set it on the hose. I'm trying to see where it's at on the hose. Oh, right there. You probably can't see it. Hang on a second. It melted just enough where now it leaks. So I had to order a new hose for it. Because I got to probably next week. I'm not going to do it this week. This top part over here, I'm going to use my fire mixture, gasoline and kerosene. Pour it down the side there, and then I'll start up there and light it, and it should just go straight down, or at least that's the goal. That way it'll burn off the top of there. So because I need to trim this hillside out a little bit. It's a beautiful day. We got rain moving in this evening or Friday morning. But all this vegetation here needs to be burned. Needs to be taken care of. And if I can't get it all burned down, then, or at least some of it burned down, then I can just trim it the rest. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here. Beautiful sunshine on the farm. Here's what I did. I was talking about on Sunday's video. This is where we put the pumpkin patch at. This gravel was not put here by us. This is what we're dealing with. Even through this whole garden area was nothing but gravel. I think what it was filled dirt they brought in and filled this area in. Yeah, I wish I had a way to get this gravel out of here and put it down in the driveway. Because, man, that's a lot of gravel I could use. But it is what it is. But there's the pumpkins. Now, these were all started by our compost. Some of them look not too healthy. We're waiting to see. They look like they're all doing pretty well. There's a few on that I would say probably is going to be a miss, but I could be wrong. And there's Millie. She's going to probably go look for a place. There's our grapes right here growing. Right there is our grapevines growing. There's the gypsy dog. There's the chickens. But, yep. Well, let's go back in the barn and we'll talk about a few other things. Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome back to the GNC Family Farms. What happens on the farm stays on the farm. But not today. We're going to let it all hang out. Well, you saw what I did yesterday. Wow. that was a chore and a half. Not only was it hot outside, but I was dealing with 400, I don't know, 5, we'll just say, I didn't really test the temperature of that thing, but I'm going to tell you what, it's a freaking blowtorch. And it really does torch the land. So I marked on the calendar yesterday's date. I want to see how long before we see weeds again and see if it's worth all the effort to do that compared to just going in and weed whacking. The problem with weed whacking, though, is you have that string and sometimes you nick or kill a plant. My wife yesterday, she came home from work and she's like, "Oh, that looks. Oh, now you heated this." You know, it's not a perfect science. Okay, you know, one way or the other, you're going to probably destroy one of the plants. You know, it's part of doing it. There's no easy way of doing it. Torching, you know, you have that heat coming off the end of that, and you know, that's what it's for. So, like I said, I marked yesterday's calendar to see if the effort and the cost of propane is better than doing it. I've seen a lot of videos of people talking about how they did it, and you know, it lasts for you know, a couple months. So we'll see. See if I get 30. I would say if I can get 30 days out of doing that, that would probably be, it would outweigh the weed whacking. Just because it looks so nice. It really does. It's clean looking, and you know, you're scorching the earth, making it look good. So like I said, I'm going to wait and see how long it goes without, you know, weeding. You know, I did pretty good. I you know, like I said, there's a few that I probably got a little too close or whatever, but you know, it is what it is. And like I said, I'm just waiting to see if it outweighs that. All right, let's move on. You probably see me wearing these in videos, and I thought I'd talk about them. This is PROHEAR. There's PROHEAR. On here, you have the power button. You have this button up here. You can answer calls. These are Bluetooth. But they're not just Bluetooth. They are protective hearing. Now, I will put a link down in the video for these if you're interested in a good pair of headset. They are chargeable. They charge right here at this port, right here at the bottom. I went with the gel ear part. It's so comfortable. You don't even know you're wearing these. Well, except for you can't hear anyone. But, you know, they are protective hearing as well as they are Bluetooth. When I'm out mowing or long times or trimming or using the chainsaw, I wanted to listen to some music or listen to a podcast, I can wear these on my ears, and they not only protect my hearing, but they also play music, or I can hear my phone calls coming in. The only downfall is when you got these on and a phone call comes in, it sounds like you're screaming. And unfortunately, you can't, you have to go to your phone and disconnect the Bluetooth from that. But sometimes that hangs up the phone call. So, but like I said, this is nice and cushion up here at the top. Got gel ear pads inside. I just wipe them down after each use, and with an alcohol pad, just kind of sterilize them. There's not, I mean, you can actually take these off if you wanted to, and clean them, but there's no need for it. Like I said, they're really good, and so if you're interested, it comes in a nice little leather case to keep them protected. You got a charging cable, comes with it, right here. You just have to buy or get a box and put it on. Hooks up to a USB port of some sort and charge them up. All right, there's that product review. Well, let's see.
We're ready to roll. Kill the enemy, take control. Kill the enemy, take control. So early in the morning. in the morning. Abrams on
The War Dogs just arrived in Los Angeles. And just in case you don't know who that is, let me catch you up. They are the 27, or the 2nd Battalion and the 7th Marines, also known as the legendary War Dogs. And now their boots are on the ground in Los Angeles. These are not weekend warriors. These are not people that you find on Craigslist. These are battle-hardened, war-forged Marines, trained in the fires of Fallujah, Sangin, and Helmand. They have faced ISIS, Taliban, and insurgents with nothing but grit, God, and a rifle. They don't flinch. They don't blink. They don't negotiate. If you really think that rioting, looting, and tearing down cities is just a game, you're about to meet the real definition of law and order. These men eat chaos for breakfast, and they bring law and order with a steel jaw. The streets of LA are about to feel what it's like when warriors walk the streets with civilians. Not to oppress, but to restore the order that all of these rioters and looters have been causing. And this is the clear message that the military is going to send. If you're looking to cause trouble, you just invited a battalion full of it. The War Dogs are here, and the barking is over. And order is going to be handled in a way that you never saw coming. Thank you, men, for your service. Consider hitting that follow button.
Well. Let's see. What is your opinion about out there in LA? Well, it's not just now in LA. It's every city now, unfortunately. These liberals, I'm telling you what. Oh. And it's not really liberals. They're just, I think they're, I don't know. I would see if there was a cause, a real true cause for protests, okay? The people that are getting picked up by ISIS, they are criminals. They entered our country illegally. They are, like I said, are criminals. They enter here illegally. They are really dirtbags, so, these are not your, they're not going around rapping, after Pearl Harbor happened, okay, they literally, America decided to take every single American, Asian, Japanese descent, Chinese descent, any of them, they took them and put them into a camp in there, I think it was Arizona, but I don't know 100% sure on that. Basically, they put them in like they rounded everyone up and took them and put them in there. That's not what they're doing. They're not taking all the Latinos, they're not taking all the Mexicans and putting them all in a camp. They're not doing that. They're deporting them, putting them back where they belong, where they go. Now these protesters have really messed up, okay? Hypothetically, I'm just stating that this is my opinion, this is what I think probably went down. Donald Trump's in the war room, okay? And he's got his military advisors around him. He's got the Air Force over here, he's got the Army over here, he's probably got Coast Guard, he's probably got the Navy, then he's got the Marines advisor. And he looks around the room and he skips all the branches of service, and he looks at the Marine advisor and says, who do we have out there at the Marine base that we could use, who are best at what they do? Well, the advisor says, well, Mr. President, I think the best advice would be use a unit that is more tamer. We have several units that are out there that are pretty tame, and they can. No. President Trump says, nope. I want the baddest. I want the meanest Marines you have. He said, well, there's one unit I can think of out there that you probably don't want to really use, but it's the 1st Battalion, and they're known as the War Dogs. President Trump lights up. He says, the War Dogs? He's like, yeah. He said, but, Mr. President, if we unleash these guys on the streets of LA, it could get really ugly. He said, because they eat, they sleep, And they breathe war. That's why they're nicknamed the War Dogs. Perfect. That's what I want. I want you to call up the commandant down there at the Palms, and you order up the War Dogs to go out and take off their leashes. Okay. So the Marine advisor calls down to the 9 Palms, and he says, I want the 1st Battalion called up, and I want the War Dogs out. Take the leashes off of them. The commandant says, are you sure? And he said, yeah, this is coming from the President of the United States of America, your Commander-in-Chief. He wants you to unleash the War Dogs on LA. All right. These boys have been waiting for it. Now, these guys are not your typical Marines, okay? Now, there's all classes of Marines, okay? They're all bad. I'm just going to say it, badasses, okay? You mess with a Marine, you mess with them all. OORAH. Okay? Marines are the Marines, okay? They're the first to go in, and they finish up the fight before the other branches come in. Okay? They don't play around. These guys are out in the desert, day in and day out, training. These are the same battalion that ISIS and Afghanistan, Iraq, feared. Okay? They literally feared these guys. Because of, not just because they're known as the War Dogs, because they literally are killers. These are mean, green, fighting machine Marines. If you ever see Full Metal Jacket and the drill sergeant, that's what we're talking about. These are the Marines. These are the Marines they sent out there in LA that are now on the streets. And these protesters, my advice is for you to pack up your stuff, and you better go. You better go back to your little mommy's basement and stop messing around, because you keep messing around, you're going to find out and you're going to get a stupid award. And I don't care. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. Now, most people will say, well, this could be a dry run for martial law. Well, here's my feeling about it. These people are not peaceful protesters. Okay, I don't care what the news tells you, CNN tells you, MS, I don't care what they tell you. When you're burning down buildings, you're burning cars, you're throwing rocks at cars, you're blocking the freeway. And I'm going to tell you, I've said this many, many times. Whenever there's something that happens in our country, a person gets killed or whatever, they go out and they try to block down a freeway. I'm going to tell you something. I live in America, okay? I eat and breathe and sleep red, white, and blue, okay? I am American. I love America. I love freedom. And the last thing you're going to do, if you block my path in a freeway and I'm trying to go from point A to point B, I'm running your butt over, okay? And you get what you get, okay? And I'm sorry if that offends people, but you get what you deserve, okay? Plain and simple. Because you're going out and blocking people from going to work. This happened in New York City. A lady was blocked from going to work to make a living so she could pay her bills. See, she don't have mommy and daddy to pay her bills. She has to go out and work a 9-to-5 job and pay her bills. So here's people protest. I'm sorry. That's when you unleash the brass. That's all I have to say. You know, we need to stop catering to these people. It is not right for them to go and block freeways, highways, streets, you know, a siege onto a federal building. This is not a protest, it's a siege. And anytime that these people think, and here's the thing that cracks me up. They want these people free, these people that are bad guys, okay, they're criminals. They want them free because they love America, but they sit around and wave a foreign country's flag. And this is not just about the Mexicans. This is about Palestine, which drives me nuts. you know, you have this. I won't even go on the whole Palestine thing. I'm sorry. That's when the Marines should have been released too. Is stop these Palestine protests. Again, a country was attacked. Okay, its citizens were captured at a concert and taken as a prisoner. Still are prisoners. After a couple, it's been what, 2 years now? Going on 2 years, I think. And so you mess around, you get a civil war. Israel said, no. You're not going to come and take my people. You're not going to take God's chosen people. And we're going to come in and bomb your country. Because you're harboring terrorists. This road is upside down. There was an unwritten law in this country for years, decades, that kept people like this at bay. And I believe it was because we had what was known as the greatest generation. My grandparents. But see, as the years have gone on, and they've passed on, now there's unchecked going on. It's time that we put the scales back up. It's time to put a stop to this childish, ignorant thought process that's going on in our country. If we would go to Mexico, burn their buildings down, torch cars, throw rocks, and wave American flag, you know what would happen to us down there? The cartel would kill us. Or the Mexican police would kill us. I'm not lying. They ain't gonna play around with that crap. You ever notice that in other countries they don't mess around? They come in with vehicles with pressured water hoses and pile these people down. But I don't care about other countries. What I care about is here in America. And it's time, and I thank God we have a president, a commander-in-chief, who isn't going to play around. And then you got the mayor out there saying, "Oh, I don't understand why we need all these people out here. All these National Guard, we got guard buildings, now we got the Marines out here, and blah, blah, blah." Because you're not doing anything. The police have their hands tied. If you untie their hands and let them do what their job, oh no, can't do that. Nope. I don't want that done here now. I'm the mayor. And then that Maxwell, oh, that woman, she's something else. She's totally lost her mind. Oh, I think it's awesome. I do. I really do believe it's awesome because, like I said, it's time to take our country back. It's time to put a stop to this ignorant thought process that's going on in our country. We need to put a stop to it. That's all I have to say. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and like I said, I hope it gives you something to think about. I love my country. I love America. I do. I love everything about it. But one thing I cannot stand is these protests. Palestine protests. Now we got I really don't know what I call it. The peaceful. I guess they're calling it the peaceful protest. I call it the Latino or Mexican protest. And they want the criminals back on the streets, to do their thing, kill young kids, rape women, and murder innocent our American citizens. Yeah, these are the same people they want loose, turn them loose. And yes, they're arresting people out of fields and that kind of stuff, and they're just here to make America dream. Well, if you want the American dream, there's a way to do it. Okay, come here, become a law-abiding citizen of America. Become a citizen here in America. But no, you want to come here, you want to make your wages, then you take it across the border to be for your family or whatever. To me, that's not the American dream. If you want the American dream, you come here, you work, and you live here. And you pay the taxes, you pay the, you become a productive citizen of the United States of America. That's the right way to do things, okay? Not the other way. And most of these people that came over the borders during different administration are nothing but criminals. They're, here illegally, and so you get deported. And I don't care how it gets done, but it needs to be done. I'm tired of paying out of my income, my wife's income, to take care of these freeloaders. And that's what they are. They're freeloaders. If you want the American dream, that's fine. I'm all about making you American dream come true. But there's steps to do that the right way. When you're crossing over the border in the middle of the night by a coyote who's led you there, and I'm not talking about bow wow wow doggy coyote. I'm talking about, that's what they call these people that bring these people across the border. And when you're coming across the border in the middle of the night, that's like a thief. That's a thief. And yes, they do come across during the daytime, but very little during the daytime. It's mostly at night. And they call that a thief in the night. We've all heard that term before, right? All right. Let's see what else. Today I'm going to be, like I said in the video earlier, I'm going to be mowing today. And then I got to trim out around here, around the barn, and around some things out there by the gate. Oh, I'm really exhausted and tired. It really was a struggle this morning to get up. But once I get this done, then my week is slowly coming fully wrapped up. I got to put some floodlights up on the outside of the barn that will light up when we have parties. They park over there, and I don't want them walking over there during the night, either evening time or if it's dark or whatever. Because when we party here on the farm, sometimes people don't leave till midnight, which is awesome. There's no neighbors around here. The one neighbor that we do have, they don't care. A lot of times they come over here and hang out with us. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Excuse me. I just, I had to go on a rant about it because, you mess around and now look what you got. You got the Marines, and not just any Marine. You got the 500 as the finest Marines you ever seen in your life, and they're fierce. That's why they're nicknamed the War Dogs. OORAH! Get 'em, boys. Get 'em. I don't know. We even had a protest here in Columbus, up the road from us, about 45 miles or 40 minutes away. And I really don't even understand what she was saying because to me it was and so I had to just look at the signs, and it was calling Trump up and Trump, and I mean, like I said, you don't love this country, then leave. You want to wave another country's flag on live TV? That person right there? Bye-bye. You just disappeared. If I was in charge, that's what I would do. I wouldn't play around with these protesters. I would literally unleash If I was the mayor, I'd put a stop to it before it even gets started. Now, most cities have to have you have to get approved for any marches, any parades, and I think there's even a law. I know here in Ohio, I remember there being a thing you have to have for protesting, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I would, if I was the mayor of a town or a governor, I wouldn't be playing around with these foolish people. Nope. I'd let my police deal with it, and if they can't handle it, then I'd bring in my National Guard, and if they couldn't do it, then guess what? Give me the meanest Marines you got, who drink whiskey, smoke cigars, and eat and breathe and sleep war. That's who I'm going to call next up on the line. So if the police can't do it, National Guard can't handle it, and guess what? I'm unleashing the war dogs. OORAH! Get it, boys!
If I die in the combat zone,
If I die in a combat zone,
box me up and ship me home.
box me up and ship me home.
Pin my medals up on my chest.
Pin my medals.
OORAH! Get it, boys! As we say here on the farm, peace, love, and joy comes from knowing our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And I hope that you get a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And we just love you and we thank you. And have a rest of the blessed week. And tomorrow's Friday. Yay! It's the weekend. Well, at least around here it's the weekend. Wife's off on Friday and Saturday, so I call it the weekend. But I still do stuff on Friday and Saturday. I just do little things. But I've really got a lot of stuff accomplished this week. I'm really, really happy about that. Really, really happy that I got a lot of this stuff done. Anyways, like I said, here on the farm, what stays on the farm, but not today. We always let it hang out. And today, we let it hang out. All right. You all have a blessed day, and I will see you on the next video.
I wake up every morning, see the sunrise on the land. Fields of gold and rolling hills built by God's own hand. There's a Bible on my table and a flag out by the gate. In this land of faith and freedom, we stand up proud and pray. This is Jesus' country, where the eagle flies high, where the stars and stripes keep waving underneath his watchful eye. From the mountains to the valleys, from the heartland to the sea, we stand for God and glory in the land of the free. Yeah.